is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paulini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
You are muted.
It normally comes off mute automatically. What a way to start. Hello and welcome everyone to WTA Weekly. Yes, it's not going to get very far if one of us is not able to speak. But there we go. We're all here. And the good news is the live chat can speak as well. So please get your comments in there. Chaotic start, but if there's anyone who's going to bring some sense to the tennis world, it's Mario Bacardi. Mario, how are you doing?
Very well. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you. I hope you're doing fine too.
Yeah, doing well, thanks. I'm always happy to be on with you, Mario. So
same here.
Plenty to discuss. I mean, the first question, I guess, is did you enjoy Doha?
Yes, I enjoyed it. I think there were great matches. And yeah, just great stories in Doha, I would say, because, especially if we look at, I would say, semifinals lineup, and there were plenty of good stories to look forward to. And yeah, I think we will start from the winner. So, if I can start with her, I would say that it's always great to see, at least to me, when a player who is great, is always so close, and always, let's say, fell short in some moments of her career, then finally gets the big title that she deserved. I think it's always great. So for me, this was an amazing week because of the matches and also because of Muchova. I think everybody can say that this good moments, a bit like when, I don't know, for example, on the men's side last year, Casper Ruud finally won a big title in Madrid. And, it's kind of a similar story, meaning that Muchova is also a player who kind of lost many times, let's say, one step away from a big title, and, finally doing it, especially, considering how good of a player she is. I would say it's really, really deserved. I don't think anyone can be kind of sad about it.
No, I don't think anyone is, really. I think Muchova is one of those stories that we've been following. So, yeah, Karolina Muchova is the Doha champion. We've been following that story for a while. So, when she's next going to win a title? Is she going to win a big title in her career? She's been ranked top 10. She was a breakup in the deciding set of a Grand Slam final. I would say, on the basis of, this is one of my more controversial tennis opinions. I would say on that basis, she's actually come closest to winning a slam out of everyone who hasn't yet won one on the tour, I would say, because breakup in a deciding set, as opposed to someone like Onshipper, who's been to 3 Grand Slam finals, but wasn't really that close to match point in any of them.
No.
So, in that scenario, I'd say that, and I think also you can see the talent Muchova has, the brand of tennis she plays. It's very creative. It's got so much variety. She could do so much on the court. I think I remember last year when she was playing Queens, and her injury was so bad that she was playing with a one-handed backhand, and I thought it looked amazing. I was like, I know you're better with a two-hander, but the one-hander looks pretty good as well. And I think for me, it's really satisfying seeing that come good, and that she's got this on her CV, that she's won a 1000, that she's beaten some really tough players in her career, and she's she beat the red hot favorite. Because I was really conflicted going into this final, Mario, where we had Muchova, who was someone I really enjoy watching, really been rooting for to succeed in her career after some near misses and all these injuries, versus Mboko, who I thought was playing incredible tennis and deserved to win the tournament. And I think it kind of all went away when I saw the final and saw how well Muchova played. And she brought a level, the one person who actually had a way of stopping Mboko, whereas Rybakina and Andreeva, who pushed her really close, we'll talk about this match later in the show, did. So it was just okay, I'm satisfied with that. And there's another thing I was thinking about, which I'll come back to later. But yeah, I'm with you. I think it's well deserved, and it gives me optimism for this season because now Muchova's beaten. She's had a good win against Rybakina right at the beginning of the year. She's now won a title, and it seems to me the Middle East is a period in the WTA calendar which can unlock a player's season and do something. And I think that gives me a lot of optimism for Muchova's year ahead if she stays injury free.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I want to say that Muchova is one of these players that you was really wondering if she would have really won a big title, because we know that she is a player that has all the qualities and all the talent and everything in order to win a big titles. But of course, starting, I don't want to say to getting older, but she was not the youngster anymore, and with all those injuries, there was this you started wondering if she would have really done it in her career. So the thing that she finally did it is really, really a feel good story, I think. And yeah, about the season, she's really playing at very, very high level. You mentioned that win against Rybakina, and Rybakina is probably the best player right now, we can say. So she already had started the year incredibly well, regardless of this title. But yeah, of course, going into the final, it was a bit difficult because even though Mboko is just 19 years old, between the two, she was the one who had already crossed the line in these sort of events. So and Muchova had lost some matches, even though I never really thought it was a mental thing for her, because even when she lost against some amazing players, like against Coco Gauff, for example, at times, and we know that beating Coco Gauff in a final is something not many players can do. So I never really thought there was a mental aspect. Yes, Svitolina won 4,000 titles, and if I'm not mistaken, but I'm pretty much,
She did, yeah. At the WTA finals.
Yeah, true. But yeah, still I was thinking that the mental aspect could in some way weigh in this match, because you are a player who's not so young anymore and you're having another opportunity, and you don't know, because nobody ever knows if we are gonna have another one. But no, she was super fine. She was really well, and I'm amazed because she won this tournament. Honestly, if I have to be honest with you, Doha was the particular conditions I would have really expected her to get the biggest title of her career, even though with her tennis, her talent, she proved myself, and that she can win and do well everywhere. But I don't know, probably it also surprised me a little bit that it was Doha in particular, because I never thought that it was the perfect court for her and for players who are a bit more like her. But Muchova is not only touch slices, she also can play some good power tennis, and I think that she proved it, and Doha in the end proved to be a great court for her.
Out of interest, which court tournament would you have thought Muchova was going to win her big title at?
Look, I think probably, considering, I was more or less, probably my head was a little bit fueled by for example, what happened last year in Doha. I always thought that players with this explosive power, with all this sort of tennis, indeed, Ostapenko, for example, last year reaching the final, for example, doing well this year as well, could have been, probably would have suited themselves better. But, I just underestimated probably Mukova's ability of playing, just her game whenever she's on. And I mean, I think her achievements and her results kind of proved it, because she's done very well more or less everywhere. But I don't know, probably was expecting some sort of even, faster hard courts to be a better court for her. I don't know, but just because at the beginning of the week I was thinking kind of in a different way and looking at all the possibilities of the players who could have won this tournament. But yeah, I mean, Mukova just proved that she's amazing, great everywhere. And yeah, I'm really interesting because if she stays healthy, for sure she can really try to have a WTA final spot, and even more, I would say. So we'll see. I really hope she can stay healthy, because if she can, then she really is, a big threat to the Grand Slam tournaments as well.
Yeah, she really is. Obviously we've seen that she can do really well at Roland Garros. She's been to the US Open semi-final multiple times. I think is a threat at Wimbledon. She got to the Wimbledon quarterfinals on her debut. First 2 years she played the tournament.
Yeah, it's where the big media and even the non-casual tennis fans discovered her, probably.
Yeah, she was, and I was like, kind of waiting for her to win one. She kind of fits the mold of a Wimbledon champion in the modern era of
that's true
of tennis. Especially kind of these journeyman players who come back from injuries on a regular basis and happen to be Czech. But let's kind of, I think it was interesting because like the last episode I did of WTA Weekly with Carson, it was either that or the one before, but we kind of did our own kind of tier ranking of kind of the WTA field at the moment. And, you've got your kind of group A, which is University agreed to be Sabalenka, Swiatek, Rybakina, Goff. And then you've got the kind of group behind, and then maybe the group behind that. And like anyone from those three groups could beat each other, but it's like how likely and how regularly that's going to happen. And like, I would say when we went through that, we were putting players like Anisimova and Pegula and Andreeva and a few others in that kind of chasing pack group, like just behind who you could see maybe popping into the group above, but definitely being the first set of challengers. We didn't mention Muchova, and I feel like there was a massive oversight on our part. Or maybe we did, but in very briefly.
But that's Mukova's story a little bit. Like the fact that she's always had this kind of physical issues at times, it can happen that in some moments you tend to, forgot a little bit about her, in my opinion. But then, a great thing is that she's always come back even better than before. And so, yeah, it was, it was some sort of mistake, but I understand why it happened, because Muchova is a bit like that. Somebody who at times you don't really notice her because of maybe she missed a few months of competition. And so, she hasn't been in contention for a few months because of her issues that she's always had in her career. But then she suddenly comes back and, quickly reminds you why she always needs to be kept in contention.
Yeah, she really does. And she did that this week. Let's go for the bigger picture and zone in on the story of the tournament. We were all watching Victoria and Boko charging through and playing these amazing matches. And I just kept on seeing Karolina Muchova just quietly getting on with it. And like, she was dismissing everyone in straight sets, which we know Muchova, we know that she has a battle and that she ends up in a lot of three setters. She's a bit like Andreescu in that respect.
Yeah.
like just keep getting these fights, and she was being quite routine in some of her in pretty much every win apart from the Sakkari semi-final. And I'm just coming through going, Mukova's playing well. Like, are we talking about her? Like, no, I think we're looking at Mboka, we're looking at Swiatek, we're looking at Rybakina. Like, and then it kind of got to the, and then she gets to the final and she plays a really good final. So yeah, talk to me about how you kind of assessing Mukova's tennis this tournament, because I think this is the most locked in I've ever seen her.
Look, I think it was a great tournament. You know, the fact about Mukova is that if probably we are just thinking about the beautiful tennis and the probably quality of every point, probably she had even better tournaments than this one in her career. But at the end of the day, you know, what makes, you know, a tennis player a champion is that this player is able in a week in a tournament to show up in, even if not point by point, in some moments of the tournament and make the difference. And that's what Mukova did. Honestly, I thought, you know, she was basically with foot out of this tournament in the semi-final, because after Sakkari, you know, won all those straight games in a row, between the end of the first set and the beginning of the second set, you know, you know, she was not really far from going out, even though the match was still long. But yeah, she's managed to really, you know, react, to always stay there, and to, you know, even the second set against Boko, there was a moment where she could start having like a little bit the nightmare on some previous matches that she lost, because it happened other times in her career to be like to suffer a comeback or something similar. And Boko was trying to improve her level and to get better and better. She has been the first to break in the second set. But Mukova, I feel like the biggest thing about her this week is that she never let anything happen like scare herself, and she always kept playing in the way she could, in the moment, staying there, present, point by point, and then eventually raising the level, the quality when it mattered the most. And I think, you know, that's basically the key for a good win like she had. And I think it's also a reward for many other times that probably she played even a bit better than what she did this week, but she couldn't put it all together in the right moment in the end. So yeah, I would say probably level was great, of course, but maybe not the biggest tournament of her career from this point of view. But when it comes to playing, you know, right and well when it matters, definitely she did the job in the right way.
Are you comparing this to Roland Garros 2024?
For example, even though, I mean, it's not like there she lost because she wasn't able to. There was a, you know, an amazing champion on the other side that probably did something a little bit better in the right moment. But yeah, there have been matches, in my opinion, and random tournaments here and there where she played even a bit better, probably from just a standout point of view, than what she did this week. But you know, overall, winning is what it matters. And you know, we all know that tennis is playing great and well in those points, and I think she did it really, really well. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I think, yeah, she played really well. She handled it, like she was serving so well as well.
Yeah,
really locked in, used her weapons well. Yes, kept her opponents on their toes, but she could pretty much keep up a strong rally with some good hitters. So yeah, I think we can be really, really impressed with Mukova's tennis, as we always are. But this week particularly, as we've been saying, like this is a level that we're kind of used to, and she kind of needs to bring it against Victoria Mboko. Let's talk about her, because wow, what a tournament she had! Like maybe the wrong opponent in the final, but shouldn't take anything away. She's now a top 10 player. She's 19 years old, and frankly is just, I mean, the fact that she was like outside the top 400 this time last year is an incredible rise. I don't think I've seen anyone hit, I think I've said this before last year, but like hit the ground running in the way that she does in terms of such clean hitting already at her age. It's incredible. So, yeah, what's, I don't know, have you also been impressed by Mboko this week?
Yeah, not just this week, honestly. I mean, I think what stands out the most to me about her game, regardless of ranking and everything else, is, you know, you mentioned how clean her ball is, but I also would add control, which is, you know, really not easy at such young age to hit so well, but always look kind of in control of your shots, you know. And it's an amazing quality for me, because she always looks, you know, of course, you know, it can happen to just not maybe execute the best in that particular moment, but overall I think she, you know, she doesn't just look an amazing young player and everything else. She looks ready to do everything in this sport. And this is crazy, because, you know, I don't want to make comparisons, but at times we have seen young player who managed to have great results, to get better and better in the ranking, but you still can see that they're not that ready to make a difference at a certain level. So, you know, with Boko, no, it's completely different, because it looks like she has everything it takes. Probably, of course, there's still some, you know, details to improve in order to be able to bring this level everywhere, and in an even more consistent way than, you know, it's already consistent, because if not, you are not top 10 in the world. But, you know, you get what I mean, to take, let's say, the last step. No, you know, the question, obvious weakness, I don't think she has an obvious weakness. Probably, you know, she can, with time, she can get a little bit better, for example, on serve. But, you know, she's not a player you see her and you really look at her weakness and say, if she doesn't cut this weakness off, let's say, she will never be able to get there. With her, she looks ready. This is impressive. And, you know, the amount of big wins she had this week is just unbelievable. Then, of course, the final, it went not well, meaning that she hasn't won, but it's normal. I mean, she's going to lose many finals, I mean, like everybody. So I don't think there's anything to take away from her week just because she couldn't get it done in the end. We don't have to forget that she's already 1000 champion. She did it in Canada last year. So probably, let's say, the next step we maybe are waiting for is like getting a great slam run. We'll see if this year she can have one. But yeah, that's the next step. But tennis wise, she can improve, of course. But, you know, even how she is right now, she is incredible, ready, in my opinion, to win.
Yeah, I'm optimistic about the slam run. Like, first of all, her Australian Open run was a good starter.
Yeah.
That run to the fourth round, pushing Sabalenka a little bit in that match. That was really promising. And I think, again, with her game, I could see it suiting grass really well. If she gets a seeding at Wimbledon, could see her getting through a good few rounds there to get in the mix. And like, Wimbledon's probably a really open slam anyway. That's an opportunity there. I've mentioned Wimbledon as an opportunity twice for both these players who are in the final. So, yeah, I think, that's what we're seeing is like, we know she can do it. She was this close to winning. She was this close to already having a second 1000 title, which is so impressive. And that's probably going to come soon at some point. The thousands are a bit more open. I think there's a lot to be excited about, and she's brought the game. Like I think I want to talk about the matches that she's played on the way through this tournament, because we had that match with Mira Andreeva, which was super special, and I think we're going to see that again from these two. That these two might be the kind of coming up and joining the elite group in the next few years.
Yeah.
And they're going to be playing some great matches deep in big tournaments. And then she played that amazing match with Elena Rybakina, which was just so good from both of them. Such great ball striking from both, really smooth, really clean. She it was very impressive for Mboko to win that, especially since she was down at one point. Like that match went backwards and forwards, and there was some great momentum shifts and multiple breaks, but it didn't feel like either player was struggling, especially amazing given not only did Mboko had a great match with Andreeva, but Rybakina just come off a tough match with Zheng Qinwen. So I thought that's one of the reasons why I thought Mboko was going to likely win the title, was the level she brought to take out Rybakina in that match. What were your thoughts on just those matches that we saw kind of in the middle of the tournament?
Just great. I mean, first of all, I was looking at, all her results this year, and, Mboko won is 7-1 in deciding sets this year. So,
Wow.
which is not an easy thing, especially at this age, to be this ready against players who are kind of in their physical prime, let's say, physical and mental prime as well. But she looks kind of in her mental prime. I hope, from the mental point of view, she will keep going this way. And yeah, as you mentioned, all the amazing matches that she had against Andreeva, which was also, kind of a revenge, because Andreeva beat her in the Adelaide final this year, and against Rybakina, which is, of course, even better than beating Rybakina like she did in Canada, because, yeah, Rybakina was starting to play better and better, but Rybakina right now is kind of a different thing, let's say, and against Rybakina was incredible. The way she just kept playing her game. We don't have to to forget that she was really close to the defeat also in those two sets that she won, because both in the first and in the deciding set she had an incredible comeback, winning 4 straight games to seal both the first and the third set, which means that she always kept believing and staying in a moment. And it's not easy. For example, if we compare, I don't know, for example, with Andreeva, not because I'm a fan of these comparisons, because, but looking at very young players, we have seen at moments, Mira not being able to just stay there until the very, very last point in some matches. And Mboko, it happened few and, here and there at times, but, she never really checks out mentally. This is really impressive because, while I think, at 19, 20 years old, it can happen at times to just not be, to exit mentally a match where there are a lot of things that are not going your way. And also maybe the environment in hostile and everything, Mboko really looks always so focused on herself, and it's really impressive because, even against Rybakina, she accepted really well the fact that Rybakina at times was just better and stronger and, and playing in a way that she could build a lead, but she never stopped believing in the fact that there could have happened moments and games where she could have make difference, and in the end she did. And it was amazing from of course a technical and tennis, let's say pure tennis point of view, but also the mental effort that she had, and also backing up those wins with another win against Ostapenko, which is never easy, because especially in these kind of conditions, Ostapenko, if in the right moment, she can really blow you off the court, and Mboko was able to do kind of the opposite, let's say, to make Ostapenko really confused, let's say.
Yeah. Which a lot of big hitters generally do against Ostapenko. Sabalenka, Rybakina do it really well.
Sure.
Usually, like Ostapenko doesn't have a great matchup against them, although she beat Sabalenka famously last year in Stuttgart. So yeah, it's great that Mboko's got that ability there as well. And yeah, I think you highlighting her mentality as you have is really important, because yeah, she is focused. She keeps fighting, and she doesn't let things get to her very often, which is great to see. Let's see what happens when the pressure ramps up and she's expected to be a top player, and that she has those expectations of herself, because we've seen that time and again with many other players who've reached the top, even of the current era. So that's going to have a big impact, but she has a lot of potential. Do you think that match with Rybakina is going to be brought up when we review our matches of the year?
Probably yes. I hope we don't forget about it just because it wasn't at a slam, because at times it happens that we tend to focus maybe excessively on Grand Slams, but just because the occasion, of course, matters as well when judging a match. But this still was a great tournament, and I think we really have to not forget about it. And who knows? Maybe these two players will be the top two at the end of the year. Who knows? We'll see.
That would give it a different perspective, wouldn't it? I mean, but we'll talk about it now because we're
not easy. There are a lot of big players, but who knows?
Is Elena? I feel like when we're speaking about her now, and we may as well cover it. I think Elena Rybakina looks like she's going to define this 2026 season. It's early days, obviously, but right now, she has won the Australian Open. The only two players who've beaten her so far this year ended up in the final of this tournament.
Yeah.
Muchova and Mboko. And Mboko had to produce a really impressive level to beat her. And that ended up being one of the defining stories of the tournament. Rybakina losing in Brisbane ended up being one of the stories of the tournament because that opened some things up. But obviously being Sabalenka, Rybakina feels really reliable right now, and she gets brought up in almost every conversation that we're having so far this season. Now, 2026 season is now 6 weeks old. There will be rivals and there will be changes, and there will be, she's going to get some regular tests and challenges.
Yeah, for sure.
But the direction as we currently see it suggests that Elena Rybakina is going to, as I said, be the defining force this season. And that's a change I'm very interested to see in the landscape of the WTA right now.
Yeah, look, I mean, for me, the simple fact that she's playing both this tournament in Doha and Dubai, despite winning the Australian Open and playing before the Australian Open, another tournament, it's also a statement about how good she's feeling, how confident. She doesn't, if she decided to come here to play both tournament despite being the Australian Open champion, which is not common. For example, it happened to Sabalenka to withdraw, not only this year, other times, or Keys last year. So if she's, for me, the simple fact that she is playing both this tournament is kind of a statement that she's making. Like, I'm not satisfied. And especially I'm not tired. I'm here. I'm ready. I want to do everything possible this year. And I think it's kind of a thing that even other players can perceive, in my opinion, because consider also how she ended last year, playing so much and winning so much, and then of course winning the WTA finals especially. So she's really playing a lot, and to me it's not like at times we say it's not clever. No, for me this time it's really clever because she's feeling good, she's feeling confident, she's okay with herself, she's good physically, and so she's really going for everything. And I agree with her decision. I think she really can battle for the number one spot, considering all the points that she made lately. And And so, consider also that she can play well everywhere. And she got great results in basically every big tournament, because if we think about Indian Wells and Miami, she played amazing tennis there as well. She never won Miami, but fell very short, lost twice in the final, won in Indian Wells. On clay, she always did great. She had great results in Madrid. She was very close to beat Sabalenka there in 2024. French Open, of course, she did well. Grass, no need to mention it. So, I really don't see why, if she stays okay physically and mentally, I don't see why she can't aim at reaching that number one. Right now, she really looks, I don't want to say unstoppable, because as we saw, she can lose a match here and there, but it's normal. But more or less unstoppable, I would say.
Yeah, I think she's very, very difficult to stop. She's a contender everywhere on every surface. I'll agree with you there. And yeah, I can't add much to what you're saying, because she's I think you're absolutely right. I think she's going to be in the mix wherever it goes. She seems to be fit and healthy, unlike other times, sort of like a year and a half in her career. And let's see how long this period lasts, but I hope it's the whole season for her. And she's going to have a crack at number 2 coming up, I think, because
it's already very close.
I think because like Iga's not playing in Dubai, no. So now Rebecca got more points in Dubai, so it's going to open the gap a little bit. But I think she needs to get to the final, or even definitely win the tournament, and she's back and she's up to number 2. She'll overtake Iga. So there's an opportunity right there in Dubai. And if she doesn't take it, then Indian Wells is definitely going to be a much more even opportunity, because Iga's defending semi-final points. I think Rebecca didn't play Indian Wells or withdrew from Indian Wells. Like, I don't remember going her very far. Right. So there's a big opportunity coming up for her in Indian Wells to really go up the rankings as well, and close that gap to Sabalenka. So Sunshine Double's going to be big for her. So that's going to be a big part of our previews.
No,
for that.
She played. It was the year before, but she lost against Andreeva last year. Oh. She won 2 matches in Indian Wells. She lost in round 16, and in Miami she lost in the opening round.
I forgot Andreeva.
Yeah, well, Sunshine Double wasn't really, wasn't that big for her last year. So.
I tell you what, though, that makes that Andreeva run look even better last year, because like we always focus on the fact that she beat Swiatek and Sabalenka back to back. She beat Rebecca as well. Like, I don't know, I can't think of anyone else who managed to beat all 3.
Yes,
of keys in Australia.
Yeah.
So that's a big one. So yeah, really impressive there. Okay, so yeah, but big opportunity points wise for Rebecca coming up. Sure. Right, let's do some quick fire, round off other stories from Doha, because we do want to do a Dubai preview and try and finish in time before the Rotterdam final starts and the ATP Tour, which
Maria
we do
Sakkari.
have a live. Sorry?
Maria Sakkari.
Yeah, live stream. Yeah, you want to go to Sakkari now? Yeah. Are we singing Maria Sakkari?
That was a great one.
Yeah, are we singing Maria Sakkari Resurgence, Mario? Because we've seen this, and we've seen prompts at the United Cup as well. And a little bit in Australia.
That's true. She played really well at the United Cup. Didn't do bad in Australia. I mean, probably wasn't really as good as the expectation set from the United Cup, but, okay, I would say. And then an amazing tournament in Doha. Great stuff, because Sakkari, of course, it's been a while since she started playing consistently. Last year she did it, and it seemed like that it would have been difficult to see her back at such good level. But even though maybe she won't, I don't know, maybe not come back to top 5, but still she reminded us that she can really be an uncomfortable opponent to face. And now we see herself as a name to search in draws, because we understood that she can, she's back, being able to cause some damage. And it's a great addition to the game. I mean, Sakkari has always, I think, brought another, let's say, variant of tennis. This very muscular game with a lot of topspin. I would say it's great because it's just another way of playing this sport. And the women's tennis right now has really a lot of variety, you know, players who play in very, very different ways from each other. And Sakkari is kind of another universe. Probably, I would say, a kind of tennis that we see a little bit more often on the men's side in terms of, let's say, the top spin and, you know, the way she hits, for example, with a forehand. She has this sort of influence in her style. And I think it's great because it's, you know, just another kind of player. There are not many like her on WTA, and, you know, maybe she can come back being a top 20 player if she keeps doing like that. I mean, the level is that of a player who can do something well, especially considering probably she has not, you know, a lot of pressure as she had probably 2-3 years ago, so she can kind of swing a bit more freely and enjoy herself. And this maybe can help her in her process of getting back to a better position. And she's on the right track.
She really is. Well, she's now very close to a Grand Slam seeding, Indian Wells seeding even, depending on how things go over the next week. Yeah, Sakkari's always one of these players where you've always thought had a lot of potential, but was also someone who, we didn't see a lot, like just didn't seem to use it a lot. Oops, I don't know what's happened there. I think Sakkari is going to be one of those names. You're right. We look for in draws and we see what happens when she plays top players now. Is she's going to be coming, and whether she's going to be a factor again, or whether she's just going to be someone who will occasionally pop up. We'll see. I think she's pretty settled on where she's at in her career, and as the WTA has kind of gone this direction in sort of post 2022 era. But hey, look, a confident Sakkari is a great watch, great story. Happy to see it. Whilst we're on Sakkari, so we know where we are with her. I think the last big story from Doha, as we do our usual top 4 check-in, is, and I don't mean top 4 semi-finalists, I mean top 4 players. Where are you at with Iga Swiatek now, Mario?
It's a difficult question. Can I skip this one?
Skip the question.
I mean, it's a difficult question because she's following a weird trajectory, meaning that, of course, she's still such a great player. World number 2, maybe 3 after Dubai. We don't know where she will be, but, you know, overall, she's still, you know, the amazing player that we know in some way. But yeah, while last year Wimbledon, and not only Wimbledon, I would say, there was a moment where we thought, you know, the process of getting better and better was really going on, and she was kind of over. You know, a little bit of a tough period that she had between 2024 and 2025. There's been a little bit of a setback. I don't know. I feel like she's trying to do even something different at times. She's even fighting, let's say, you know, I don't know, against Sakkari. She really tried until the very last point to do all she could in order to stay alive and made Sakkari really suffer in order to win. But yeah, it's a bit tough because it's kind of a moment where you could see her still winning a lot, still being, you know, trouble the opponents with her game. But I would say that at times she seems probably also a little bit, you know, let's say, confused in finding the balance between, you know, hitting hard and doing more with her shots, hurting her opponents more, but still, maintaining her, let's say, features, the features that made her great as a player and as a champion. And it's a bit of a weird balance. It's not tough. It's tough to find this balance between the two components of her game, because she's someone who likes doing both, like playing with this lot of top spin, but also, hitting very hard when she can. She has both these natures in herself, and it's really not easy. I still see her as a player to beat on clay, as we are reading in the comments. I kind of agree with this, but this is not enough for me. As somebody who has an amazing opinion of Iga Swiatek and thinks she really has all she needs to win so much, basically every season, I'm not that satisfied with what she's doing, and I think she really probably, I don't know if come back to some basics can help her. I don't know. It's difficult because when you are in her position, you are still very, very good. So good that you can comfortably beat so many players. At the same time, you have to find that particular way to be even more effective and a little bit less, let's say, upset prone, even if it's not like she really suffering upsets. This was still a quarterfinal.
Against an established former top 10 player.
Yeah, let's say. So I don't know. It's tough. It's tough for me to criticize her because she's still doing so good overall compared to many other players. But she's Iga Swiatek. I want more. I want her to really find that balance that even last year brought her to win some very, very important things.
Yeah, I think you're touching on some points that I agree that are kind of spot on. I think that the balance of Iga's two natures, the aggressor and the aggressor and the patient, I'd say patient one, the fighter, between aggression and patience, because I don't think she really relied on her patience when she was dominating. It helped, but it helped. I think the patience got her to the place that she got to a couple of times in her career in 2022 in the first half of 2024. But I don't think she would have been anyway successful if she just relied on the patience and didn't have any aggression. Relying on the aggression gets her so far, but isn't sustainable, clearly. It's hard to criticize, as you say. Like, we aren't doing it. She's a very successful player. She will win more titles. And I think she could have won that match against Sakkari. Arguably, she should have. She was in positions to win that match multiple times. Whether she would have beaten Muchova, I don't know. I think maybe Muchova this week was too good. But it was there. I think Swiatek can find the balance that you're talking about. She's done it before. I think 2022 version was the one who perfected it in some way.
I believe she can.
But obviously she needs to evolve and not rely on the 2022 version because the others are catching up. She, they know her game. They know they just need to wait or break her down or kind of do that. And she needs to, that's why she has win for set. That's why she's doing the work that she's doing. The question is whether this evolution that she needs to do is the right direction. And we don't know. The results will tell us whether it's a good direction or not for her, and what feels natural to her. So I think that's where I'm at with that. It's a process. She's always been up and down in that. I don't know. I think I'll just ask you, like, Mario, like these questions is that Okay, last couple of questions. In your opinion, can she find the balance that you're talking about? And is Wim Fissette the right person to help her find the balance?
I think she can. If not, probably I wouldn't even been talking about it, because there are other players who maybe should find this balance, but I'm not even thinking about it because, you know, I don't consider it maybe sustainable for them. For Iga, I do. I don't know. The second question, it's very difficult.
I think that was a bit of a mean question, to be fair. Like, we're not coaches, we're not experts.
More like we're, for me, the biggest thing is that we don't see the day by day, let's say. And that's why I find it difficult to say if she's with the right person or not, because yeah, of course I see what happens on court. I judge, let's say, with the experience I built, you know, watching this game for so long. But you know, I don't really I'm not in the team, let's say, or in the tour, so watching the day by day and really noticing other things that maybe off the court we should be able to notice in order to have a clearer opinion. But yeah, probably I always say that the right person is the person you are feeling comfortable with, first of all, in my opinion. So if she's feeling okay with her work, at times it's also a matter of like bearing your responsibility, you know. I'm with the right person even though I'm not winning as much as before, let's say, because I also have my own responsibilities in all this. So it's really up to herself to really, let's say, reflect and think, I'm still having the right path, even though, you know, I'm having a few troubles right now here and there in some moments. Or maybe, you know, consider these little ups and downs as you know, an evidence or something more that she needs to change inside her team. But it's not automatic, in my opinion. She also can feel like it's the right way, and it's also a part of herself, let's say, playing a role in all this, which doesn't depend on the coach. Probably for me, you know, as I always tend to think, I try something different because I don't think it's never bad, especially for a great and established champion like her to listen to another voice. But it's tough because, you know, you also have the day by day, and, you know, they also have their own life and psychological things to care about. And so maybe it's the right person. It's possible.
Maybe. Yeah, I still think there's some optimism that it's the right that Wim Fissette's the right person to take her in this direction. I don't think the work's finished yet. I think if it's just still a struggle in 12 months, then revisit. But right now, it's still a process. Right, 5 minutes to go.
She's still the Wimbledon champion. I mean,
yeah, she won Wimbledon.
Sorry if it's too little.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Wimbledon champion, probably win again on clay at some point. So, right, we're going to do a little bit of a Dubai preview as much as we can because Dubai's already started. So there's fewer questions to ask about this draw, especially since Aryna Sabalenka and Iga Swiatek aren't in it. Which in my mind opens this draw up a lot. You've still got Rybakina, you've still got Goff, you've got Anisimova as the second seed, and they're probably going to be the on paper favourites, particularly Rybakina and Anisimova, because Goff doesn't tend to do well at this point in the year. So I'm just going to ask you, Mario, like, what are the kind of key storylines that you're picking out from this draw?
I mean, for me, Rybakina is always a storyline because, as I said before, given her stretch, I really think, you know, she really can consider a big run to get to the top of the rankings. So for me, it's always some sort of a storyline, meaning that I'm all eye on what she does to, also considering, let's say, this sort of fight we can have for a number one spot if she keeps doing well. Overall, I would say that, for me, this tournament is not much different actually than Doha in the way I am approaching. Like, I know that in the Middle East, considering that we come from a tough Australian Open for everybody, and also courts and conditions are always a bit peculiar. Like, there are actually not many top players really enjoy them. Let's say, I mean, Sabalenka is not playing, but she's also one that she never really loved particularly, at least in recent years, playing there. Goff, we know it. So for me, there's this thing about Rybakina always popping inside my head because of her ranking position. But overall, I would say that the storylines will probably be defined throughout the tournament, meaning that I see this tournament as a big chance for a lot of players, because we know that there are still many great champions in the draw, but for sure, 2 of the top 3 players aren't there. So of course, there's room to many players to dream about something big, and so we'll see. We'll see if there will be some upset. I don't know. Maybe Cocciaretto will cause another great upset in Dubai.
Cocciaretto's having a great season.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll a lot more.
I found my way to mention her in this show. And I don't know, Bencic is a player who maybe can do well. There's a section between Bencic and Svitolin. I mean, Anisimova doesn't have a soft opening round, because Krejcikova, we know that she's a player who can always find a great day, and she won in Dubai. Especially, so she's a former champion of this tournament, one of probably the greatest runs in these past years. So probably I would say the biggest story right now is looking at the opening rounds and see which direction this tournament will take. If the direction of the top players, or with some upsets in the opening round, the opposite one, like the big chance for many others. So probably, let's say that we have to be careful on these opening rounds to see more or less which kind of tournament we will be watching in few days.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There's a lot more potential for things to be a bit more open at these tournaments. We've seen that over the last couple of years, with Paolini breaking through and winning in 2024, beating Kalinskaya, and Andreeva getting her first 1,000 last year in a really good run, beating Swiatek and Rybakina, and then it was against Towson in the final, beating Sabalenka. This is a big, this tournament has traditionally thrown up some big opportunities for players. Krejcikova had a great run 3 years ago, as you talk about. So
last 3 years for all 3 players, it was the first 1,000 title, even though Krejcikova was a Grand Slam champion already. But
so that pattern suggests that we're probably going to get a new one again after Muchova. No one's ever done a Doha Dubai double, so that's history on the line there. I'm with you. I think I'm watching 2 things this tournament in terms of
Muchova withdrawn.
There you
That's
go.
right.
Literally just withdrew, and Sakkari's not playing.
Yeah, Sakkari, I know it.
So that's interesting. So Muchova's not playing, so there's definitely no Middle East double happening. I think we're going to get some great matches. We'll see how this draw kind of works out. Anyway, we're not going to necessarily break down good matches we're going to get, because we're just in the middle of it. So big picture story-wise, I'm watching 2 things. I'm watching who's going to play well, who's looking good and kind of bubbling to potentially rise through. My eyes on Iva Jovic, actually, or Iva Jovic, to maybe be the next new 1,000 champion. I think this could be a really good opportunity for her. The section of the draw she's in. as my wild card pick. But the other one I'm watching is Elena Rybakina and whether she's going to continue to maintain the level.
Yeah, I told you. For me, this is always a story right now.
Yeah. So if you were to ask my head to pick a champion, I've got to go with Elena Rybakina, especially since she seems to be winning every other tournament she plays at the moment. Like literally, she won, was it Ningbo? No, Tokyo, then didn't win Ningbo, then won the WTA
because
final,
she withdrew
then
after qualifying. Yeah, that's right.
And then didn't win Brisbane, won the Australian Open, didn't win Doha, which means by that pattern, she's winning Dubai.
So the pattern continues. And then she win Miami then.
Yeah, finally. After a couple of times near misses.
No, we'll see, because for me, it's really a potential big storyline of this year, like a fight for number one. You know, Sabalenka actually started very well the year. So, you know, I can see right now a very tough battle between them two in order to fight for that year-end number one spot. For me, it's a potential great story. Of course, it's early, so we will have to see if this will really be a fight, or there will be another player. I don't know. But yeah, potentially this can really be a good story of this 2026 season.
And we've got a lot to look forward to. Mario, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure. And thank you everyone for joining, watching us, listening to us back, watching us back. Please leave a like if you like the video. Drop us a comment, see what you think about any of our points. I know quite a few people in the live chat have been chipping in as well, which is great to see. We'll be back next week to round up what happens in Dubai and do a proper deep dive into that tournament after we see what storylines have come through. But today is a mega day on Talking Tennis because we're about to jump into the Rotterdam final between Alex de Minaur and Felix Auger-Aliassime, and we're going to have an ATP day for the rest of the day on Talking Tennis. Keep an eye out for an ATP Weekly as well. Thanks everyone for joining. I'll see you next time. In the meantime, take care and keep talking tennis.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.